I see a lot of people make these EDC tins out of Altoids cases and stuff like that, and I decided to put one together. This one isn't entirely for, like off the grid or urban. It's kind of a mashup of both of them. Whatever things that I find are useful for me, and that's kind of how these things work. This one is actually made out of a C's candy tin that has those chocolate covered coffee beans. So I got like a rubber band that came with some produce to keep it, from popping open accidentally. It does close nice by itself. It doesn't need that to keep it together. I got a couple pieces of black duct tape on both sides, and that kind of, keeps it a little more concealed, I guess. I don't have a GoPro, or I do, it's a faux pro, but I don't have a head mount for it. I'm just recording this on my phone, so it's might be hard to do with one hand. So let's just start by ripping the rubber band off. And it's just going to be no particular order, just kind of what's on top. Now, at one point, I did have a little mini folding spork in there, but after I put the pencil, I couldn't fit it anymore. So I had to take that out. So let's see, on the lid here, we've got a little piece of sandpaper, a tiny magnet on the upper right there, and some felt bump-ons. I don't know why I put those on there, but I think they'll be totally useful. So first thing, it's flying everywhere already, huh? I've got a little mini Bic lighter. It's wrapped in duct tape, it's wrapped in twine, and it's got 2 rubber bands on it. This twine, you kind of unwrap it and put it over the flame, and then you can kind of use that as a wick or for tying and binding things together. There's a lot of fastener type stuff in here. The fishing kit isn't really done yet, but here's just a bunch of fishing line wrapped around a Q-tip. You can use this for sewing material if you wanted to, part of a sewing kit. Or, fishing, of course. I still need to get a couple hooks and a couple little lead weights to put in there. Let's see, we've got a little dollar store laser light combo. This is like $1.25 at Dollar General. That way you can kind of look in the tin at night, or you can kind of laser point things. Of course, this is a super poor quality laser. Don't expect it to be a significant signaling device, maybe kind of a general pointer device at short distances. Of course, we have a little mini pencil. There are a couple folded up Post-its we'll get to in there. You always need something to write with. This is a little tiny Ziploc baggie with a couple aspirin in it and a twisty tie to kind of keep it compact from folding out on itself or unfolding. This is the sewing kit. It's just some heavy duty black thread and a sewing needle wrapped around a Q-tip. Let's see, we've got a couple birthday candles. These are unscented. These are not trick candles, which would be better in cases where it's windy and you need to get a fire started. But this is just what I could find without having to spend a bunch of money. Most of these things were just things I found. There was rarely anything I bought to actually put in here. But this was out of my main kind of bug out bag. I had these candles, so I put a couple in there. Got a pair of tweezers, super handy. You don't want to be walking around with splinters anywhere in your body, or say, you just need to like pluck a hair or something, whatever. I've got a flat back razor blade. I probably could save a little room if I unwrapped it, but then also, I don't want a raw blade. Or I might open this up and put a piece of tape over it to keep it nice and sharp, but, if you need to cut your thread or your fishing line or anything. Actually, you can use this blunt end to clean out from underneath your fingernails. Let's see, we've got a couple of toothpicks. These can have multiple purposes. Let's see, we've got a little thumbtack for poking holes, or say you just needed to like pin up a piece of line or something like that. Or you could actually make a little pocket stove with a tin can if you poke the holes. And that's actually why this copper penny is in there, because you can make a little alcohol stove. Get an actual copper penny, 1982 or before. There are some post 82s that are 90% copper, but not very many. This is just leftover dies that are being used. So this is a little mini drill bit. This has been floating around on my shelf for many months, and I just felt it was an appropriate place to put it. Let's see, then I've got a few finishing nails. A lot of people carry bigger nails, but again, this is what I had, just kind of laying around in a little tin at work. Now, I have some things in here that I haven't seen other people put in here. A keyring. This can, be used as some type of fastening or linking device. It just seems super handy to me. If you want to attach something to your belt or whatever, you can easily do it with that. Sorry, it's getting a little blurry here. I have a little bead chain that is bracelet sized. Again, you can just kind of use this to clasp onto things and carry them around. You can put it around that key ring and put something on it. Let's see, we have some water shock tablets. You can find these on eBay or whatever. Here's another one. You need, if you have some questionable water, these are chlorine tablets. It will easily kill anything in there. You just let it sit for about half an hour. That would clear a liter of water. Here's a Benadryl. I believe there are actually 2 in here. You never know when you're going to come across some type of pollen or dander that you might end up being allergic to. Alright, let's see. We've got a small paper clip. There is a bigger one in here. You can bend these into any type of useful tool, scraper, poker, all kinds of useful stuff you can do with one of those. And then, likewise, we have our collection of safety pins in various sizes. If you get a tear, sorry for the blur there, a tear in your clothing or something like that, and you're on the move and you don't have time to sew it up yet, or you need to find a safe location before you can get into sewing, you got some safety pins. You can use this to, make like a little sling out of a handkerchief or whatever. Another poker device here. I've got a T-pin. I use these frequently at work, to where it was just laying around, and I was like, hey, I'm just going to throw this in the little kit here. This is a wire fastener. I was thinking about clipping off a few lengths of various wire, and again, you can use this for hanging stuff. That's also why I've got a couple little tiny screws in here. If you take your Leatherman or mini Leatherman or something like that, you should be carrying around on your hip, and you can use this to fasten it to something if you want to hang something from a tree or whatever. And I've got a little mini super glue. You never know when you might want to super glue something. You could double this up as new skin, even though I would not recommend it. But in an emergency situation, rather than have your hand bleeding or something like that, you can kind of pinch it together and use this as a temporary fix until you can get some real medical first aid for it. Here is a little eye drop. There's a tail on this, cut it off. I got this idea from some other one that I watched. So that was one of my kind of unoriginal ideas, but the guy who showed me this I thought was very clever. Alright, I gotta refocus in here. Here is a guitar pick. I play guitar, so this one I got for free from NAMM. You could use this as a cuticle pusher, or picker, scraper, guitar pick. I have a military style button. I actually found this down by the dumpster a few weeks ago, and I was like, okay, cool. That will have good use. You bust the button on your pants and you need your pants to stay up, or there you go. So there's some basic things you frequently find in these. The alcohol prep pad. This can also be used as a fire starter. Iodine pad would be better for cleaning purposes, for first aid. And then we've got a Band-Aid. Get a little scratch. First aid counts a lot. You don't want that to get infected, and surface scratches can be really annoying and rub, and when they cover a large area, it's very annoying. Here's a couple folded up Post-it notes, so you have something to write on with that pencil. And then in the very bottom here, it's just a folded up piece of tin foil. It's not big enough to fold a cup out of. I just pulled off some and threw it in there. You can use the shiny side as kind of like a signaling device, but, you know, tons of uses for stuff like this. You know, if you're cooking something or whatever, you get a little fire started, you can kind of, you know, maybe fold in a little bowl or something. I'm sure you could probably, like, I wouldn't recommend this, like make a pipe or something out of it. I don't know. There's just tons of uses for aluminum foil. And then way deep down, the last thing we got is a $20 bill. Because even if shit hit the fan, cash is king. And, you know, you don't want to leave yourself without any money. If you're like broken down on the side of the road, or you ran out of gas or whatever. So all that fits nicely in there. I'm not going to bother you by trying to put it all back in or organize it all nicely, but, you know, those are things that I find useful that I could always use. Some other things I'd say you could probably put in here that I want to, I just haven't dug it out yet. You could put like a silver dime, silver quarter, something like that in there, something that has, you know, a little bit of value, some like intrinsic trade value or something like that, you know, maybe able to barter like a bite to eat with or something like that and save your cash for something else. So yeah, so there are my little everyday carry detachable items. You know, of course, I've also got a bug out bag, and this is just kind of like a condensed version of other things you would find to, you know, keep yourself in a situation. And once I started carrying this around, I realized I was kind of frequently opening it, and maybe not every single day, but sometimes several times in a day. And, you know, it's super useful, you know, just like this magnet. You know, if you're sewing, you could put your needle on there if it's magnetic. So yeah, you know, this could be a striker. Something else I would like to add is some nice matches, you know, some waterproof or self-strike matches. This could also double up as a striker, you know. Or even a nail file. Say you got a hangnail and you just go up there and scratch your nail on it. So anyways, hope you enjoyed that. Give you some ideas. You know, always be prepared. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Thank you. Take care.